Good morning, and we are live. Hope your coffee is as good as mine. Hell, I hope it's better. I really do. I'm excited. You can tell I'm excited. We got a great guest today, a friend of mine, wonderful individual. One of my favorite people to talk to is joining us, Major Richard Ojeda, retired. I am so excited. You know what? Let's just dive right in. Let's get to work. Good morning, everybody. I am super stoked to be here. These are the days that just make it for me. They really do. Richard, welcome. Welcome to the show, my friend.
I'm always excited to be on here, man. You know, I got my coffee with me and everything, but I tell you what, that part with the bacon and eggs and stuff, man, I tell you, it makes me hungry. You really do have a really good intro into your show. Really good.
I appreciate it. It's a little long. I got to figure out how to shorten it up a little bit. It's a little long, but I appreciate that, Richard. I really do. Richard, just won your primary, North Carolina district, man. I tell you what, I've been going over the numbers in this, Richard. I have. And, I was looking at the turnout for the last election. I've taken the shift that's been going on in, and adding in the coattails that you're going to have. You're about strong up ticket coattails that are going to be dragging you along. This looks good, my brother. This looks good.
It could be a perfect storm. I mean, at the end of the day, we have Roy Cooper, who was the governor of governor of North Carolina for 2 terms. He is the most loved politician in this state. He's never lost a race. He's leading the charge. And then we have Justice Anita Earls, because we're all starting to realize that our courts are absolutely crucial for us. So we've got a lot of people motivated and fired up to try to take these courts back. We got to keep Justice Anita Earls on there, and beneath them will be my name. And, my opponent, Richard Hudson, he's the guy that told everybody to stop the town halls. He doesn't put boots on the ground. He's got a reputation for never showing up. And we do. We are putting boots on the ground everywhere. We're doing 2 and 3 hour door knocking sessions every other day. We are going nonstop, and we really do believe that the math is going to add up to a victory for us. We really feel that.
Man, I tell you, I know you're not going to be outworked. I know that. I know you are not going to be outworked in this, but I want to talk about Richard Hudson for a second, because this is the exact kind of person, pardon my language, Richard, that just fucking pisses me off. This guy has been a political lizard his whole adult life. This is it. This is what it looked. Check this out, Richard. Check this out. This, as you like to call them, jackaloons. Did I get that right?
Yep, you got it.
Standing next to Mike Little Johnson, handing Trump his made-up, pathetic little trophy. Look at him grinning there. This guy, his whole life has been nothing but a political lizard. You mind if I run through some of his greatest hits real quick?
Go for it.
All right. Look, I mean, his entire adult life. First of all, I mean, he's a staffer for Robin Hayes back in 99 to 2005. He worked on Virginia Fox's staff, John Carter's staff, Mike Conway's staff. He was a communications director for the North Carolina Republican Party. He was worked for Richard Vinroot's campaign for governor back in 2008. He worked on Pat McCrory's campaign. This guy has been nothing nothing but a political lizard his entire life. I mean, this is it. This is the worst kind of this is the kind of politician everybody hates.
Yeah, and he's the chair of the NRCC. He's the guy that told everybody no more town halls. He's got a reputation. People in this district don't even know what he looks like. They've never received a return phone call from him. But let me tell you, this is what's messed up, is that if you would like to get the opportunity to speak to Richard Hudson, your member of Congress in North Carolina's 9th Congressional District, you actually can. But it's going to cost you $25,000 to get a Zoom call with him. He can't take the time to come down here and put boots on the ground and speak to the people. But make no mistake about it, if you got $25K you want to throw at him, he'll be happy to sit down with you. That's what's wrong with our country. That's what's wrong with leadership, because it's not leadership, it's fake leadership. And where I come from, leadership means something. Leadership means showing up. Leadership means sometimes putting yourself in harm's way. And this guy knows nothing about that.
Preach, brother, preach. I'm telling you, that is exactly what I'm talking about. When you said nobody knows what this guy looked like, I was just that's exactly where I was about to go. People, for $25,000, you can get Richard Hudson to sit down with you on a Zoom call and talk to you about anything you want and licking Donald Trump's taint. Yep. I am telling you,
I'll talk to you for free.
And this is why I'm talking about, Richard. This is why the wind is in your sails, brother. I'm telling you, I look at a lot of different, look, I'm always optimistic. I am. I am. Even when somebody's facing an uphill battle, I'm always optimistic. I am. Do the work. You never know how it's going to turn out. This is not that. Richard, the wind is in your sails, brother. Fort Bragg is in your district. This is your district. Let me show the people your district. This is, you've got the suburbs, you've got the Durham Chapel Hill suburbs up in Raleigh. You've got the Winston-Salem suburbs. You've got the Greensboro suburbs. You've got Burlington that's in there, Randolph that's in there. And then, of course, down here at the bottom here, Fort Bragg.
Yep.
A guy like Richard Hudson, the wind, and correct me if I'm wrong here, if I'm reading this wrong, straighten me out. But he's looking at a banking crisis, which affects North Carolina greatly. He's looking at this idiotic war in Iran that is pissing military. I don't know a military family. I mean, they're always patriotic. They're always hoorah. You know what I mean? But, man, they're looking at this like, what the hell? No plan, no nothing. This guy is the biggest Trump taint licker. Doesn't matter what Trump does. Am I reading this wrong?
No, you're absolutely correct. And understand that, this is the guy that calls himself the veterans representative. He only says that because Bragg is in his district, but he don't do anything. He's never picked up a rifleman post. He's never served in the military. But what he did do was he never said one single word when Epstein or Elon Musk was with Doge and they fired over 7,000 VA jobs. Then he voted yes on that big horrible bill that targets 86,000 more VA jobs. So don't call yourself the veterans representative and then cut our health care. Don't call yourself the veterans representative and beat the drums that are going to send American sons and daughters into harm's way. For what? So that you can keep everybody's eyes off of the damn Epstein files? Because that's what this is about. 6 months ago, they told us that we bombed Iran back into the Stone Age. They'll never have another bomb. 6 months later, we're attacking them again. And oh, by the way, Donald Trump didn't say that I spoke to my military intelligence and got this. He flat out said that he was told by Jared Kushner, Steve Bannon, and Pete Hegseth that it was time. And these are the same people that know that we're in trouble, Mr. Trump. We're underneath everything. It's time for another war. And let me tell you, I'm with Pete Hegseth. Every single time he gets behind a microphone, this is what you got to take away from that. Everything that he is saying is literally moving towards war crimes. So when it finally hits and things start happening and we see that war crimes are being committed, there's not a damn thing he's going to be able to do to avoid prosecution, because he's literally said, We will give no quarter. Give no quarter means we're not going to take prisoners. We'll just kill everybody. And once again, it's pretty rich coming from a guy that's never going to pick up a rifle and man a post in this war. You know, he's not going to see the children. I'm going to say children, the young men and women. They're going to come back this way in flag draped coffins, or come back here and desperately need the Veterans Administration that they're trying to cut for the rest of their lives.
Yep. Amen, brother. Amen. We're going to talk some more about that. But for a minute, I want to talk about you, Richard. I do. I want to talk. This is Sapper from Blade Runner. This is Sapper from Blade Runner. Y'all may remember this character, but people that haven't served. You know, Richard, I never served. History is my thing. I am a civilian my entire life. I have never served. My view on everything military is through the lens of history. You know, that's my thing. I love history. So when somebody says sapper, I know what that means because I'm a history buff, but most do not. They don't understand what that means. And just to give people an understanding, y'all may, and I love to reference movies because people can relate to them. That's why I reference movies. If you go back to, Gunny back when he was calling out the assignments at the end of I'm tongue tied. Goddamn, R. Lee Ermey. What was that damn movie? Marine
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket. There you go. I don't know why I had a brain lock. He's calling out the assignments at the end of Full Metal Jackets. He's like, I don't know the number. I've never served. So there's your infantry, and then so the next guy, infantry, the next guy, combat engineers. Congratulations, you go out and find mines. You know, I was like, people don't understand what my guy Richard has looked at in his lifetime. 200, man, attached to the 82nd Airborne. Tell him what a sapper is, man.
Okay, so let me tell you about sapper. First off, there's a course. It's a course you got to go through. It's half the length of Ranger School. But everything that you do in Ranger School, you're going to do in sapper school. And the reason why it's really, really rough, and I even had 2 people that were Ranger qualified fail in my course. The reason why it's so tough is because it's not a long course. So it's nonstop. I mean, literally you go from one event to the next event to the next event, and it is brutal. But basically what a sapper does is a sapper provides their infantry. We provide them with counter mobility, mobility, and survivability capabilities. Now, engineers do that too, but sappers are a different level of engineers. You know, you are right. You know, we are trained in explosives, in being able to create our own explosives. It's a course that it's rough. But once again, let me tell you something. We absolutely, those of us that made it through the course and earned the title of sapper, we love that. And I'm going to tell you right now, the sappers that I grew up with and the sappers that I know were always ready to go out. You know, they always say, regardless, whatever job in the military says, we lead the way. You lead the way after we clear that way for you. And make no mistake about it, when we was in Iraq, every daggone morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, we'd start getting calls when I was the chief of operations and saying, hey, have you guys cleared this road? Because we want to go down that way. That's what they waited on. They waited for us to go out there. And I'll tell you right now, you're not going to find any sapper unit in the military today that doesn't have soldiers that are operating in that unit that are missing arms and legs, because that is a way of life when you find yourself dealing with explosives and things like that on a constant basis, especially when you're talking about enemy explosives that, they use that you have to try to, basically disconnect.
A sapper has been on his knees as close as I am to this microphone to a landmine. I mean, this is the kind of thing we're talking about. Clearing the way, brother. And this is such a pertinent conversation right now because of Karg Island. Karg Island, man. People talk about here Donald Trump and that idiot Fox News moron Hegseth talking about we're going to take Karg Island. And it's like, wait a minute.
Did you hear Lindsey Graham? Did you hear Lindsey Graham when he beat the drums or said, well, we took Iwo Jima. We lost 7,000 Marines on the first day of Iwo Jima. That guy should shut his pie hole. You know, the only reason why he said this, we're going to make a lot of money. It's because he's got stock in the military industrial complex. He's got stock in Raytheon, Halliburton, Boeing, Brown and Root, Lockheed Martin. That's why he's excited about this. He doesn't even care that you're going to lose your sons and daughters. He even said that he's going to tell the mothers and fathers of South Carolina that they should be glad to send their kids to Iran so that these jackasses can daggone get filthy rich. Should not be allowed to buy stock in the military industrial complex. We talk about we shouldn't allow them to play stock, which I agree wholeheartedly. But at a minimum, we should say you can never buy stock into oil companies and you can never buy stock in the military industrial complex, because the way that those make the money is when we are at war, when we are out there bombing the hell out of other countries' facilities. And that's unacceptable. The people will die, and they don't care about people die. They don't care about flag-draped coffins because it doesn't matter to them. They're not going to send their sons and daughters to fight these wars. The rich people wage war while the poor people have to fight the damn wars.
Amen, brother. Amen. Hallelujah. I'm telling you, preach it, brother. Because you know what? I'm telling you, you served in Afghanistan. You served in Iraq. I'm looking at, and I just want to go back to Carg Island for just a second, because this really, when I heard that, I was like, oh my, I literally got cold, man. I got cold because, you know, if you're around and you're looking at losing, because we will take it. Our military is the best anywhere. If we want it and we have to have it, we will get it. There's nothing on this face of this earth that can oppose the United States military when it has a purpose and a plan. Period. Bar none. Done. But things come at a cost. Yes. And I'm looking at Iran right now, and they're thinking, okay, if we're going to lose Carg Island, what do we care if it's destroyed? What do we care? All we want to do is inflict maximum casualties, make it as expensive as possible, and destroy the fucking place before we're done.
Yes.
That is right up your alley, my friend, because what is the 82nd Airborne going to be faced? Because they're the ones right now sitting in Riyadh.
Yep.
They're the ones looking at this.
We've got the 82nd Airborne Division waiting. We've got thousands of Marines that are moving in that direction. Understand that we also know that Iran has a shit ton of drones to kill Americans. And oh, by the way, theirs are dirt cheap, but they work. We will spend $4 million on a bomb or a rocket to knock out a $40 daggone drone. But make no mistake about it, they can bankrupt us like this, number one. Number two, people are going to lose their lives. This isn't something that we walk into. We're not walking into the Taliban that literally had no real military. They just had guts. We're walking into a place that's got a military that has capabilities, and make no mistake about it, they're going to continue doing what they're doing. They're still bombing anything that belongs to the United States of America in that region, and people are getting killed. People are being wounded, and they're not even giving us the full numbers. You know, they were talking about it was in the teens. Now we know at least over 150 people have been wounded in action over there. Let me tell you something. You know, as a person who struggles with traumatic brain injury, look, I still like to read. I like to do research. You know, but the biggest thing with me is that there's certain things that I forget. It's really, really hard for me to develop the ability to learn somebody's name without multiple, times with them. And that's what hurts sometimes, because sometimes people are like, wow, man, I know that guy, but he didn't, he talked to me like he never knew before, because that's part of my traumatic brain injury. But I'm telling you, there's so many people that will probably find themselves wounded, maybe even killed, because of the drums of war that are being beat by people like Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump and these guys. And look, I don't care. This is all about the Epstein files. I mean, there's no reason for us to have done that. 6 months ago, they told us they bombed them out of existence. If you bombed them out of existence, why do you have to now go back and pick a fight with them again? And it's because they knew that people were looking. People were starting to realize what's going on. It is the Epstein files. And the Strait of Hormuz, get ready. They're not going, you better get ready for daggone gas to go up to $7 a gallon. And it's not going to end right here. And Donald Trump, a man who has literally dragged our allies through the garden for the past 10 years, is now mad because our allies no longer want to get on boats with their troops and go through the Strait of Hormuz with us so that maybe they could take a couple hits instead of us taking all the hits? Absolutely not. And that's why no allies are standing with us right now. And why should they? Because Donald Trump has never been good to our allies. Nothing but threatened to take their land. Every time an ally said anything against him, he would automatically be like, well, maybe they need to be a 52nd or 53rd state. That's not bringing people to our aid. That's keeping them away. And that's what's happening right now with Donald Trump.
Man, I'm telling you, you're 100% spot on. And I want to touch on this because I want to move to, in just a minute, talking about some of the losses that we just had. But this is Karg Island, okay? This is satellite footage from Karg Island. As somebody that's worked in demolitions before, that understands how to make things go boom, I'm looking at, 3 dozen massive oil containers that all you've got to do is pump. They try to keep air out of them to keep them from blowing up, but you can change that.
Yes.
And it doesn't take a really large charge. If you're going to lose these anyways, this is just an inferno waiting to happen. And our troops are going to be walking right into it.
Walking into it, breathing it, being left there to do their missions. Look, I'm not I am nowhere near anti-American. I am anti-war. And anybody out there who has ever seen it knows that anybody out there that's seen it should be against it, especially sending our sons and daughters there now. It's unacceptable. It is unacceptable. People will die. Let me tell you something. If you remember Desert Storm, and you remember when they set fire to all of the oil fields in there, I've got a friend of mine. His name is Robert. I'm going to say it, Robert Tyree. Robert Tyree was in Desert Storm. When I was a state senator, I used one of his uniforms, his boots, to put on display in my office when I was a state senator, because I wanted people to come in there and see. Because Robert lived a life in pain, struggled greatly with issues, with illnesses ever since then. And he walked through those fields. And when I pick up his boots and show the bottom of his boots, the boot soles were jet black because they walked through oil. They walked through this stuff. It rained on them. This is what they lived through. And it was over 20 years after Desert Storm that finally a doctor looked him in the face and said, "You're suffering from Gulf War syndrome." He struggled for years. His feet looked like that. And he walked a beat for the for the Postal Service for years in excruciating pain. And finally, a doctor said, "You've got Gulf War syndrome." Finally, they gave him his rating that he deserves. But I mean, it sickens me when we see things like this. And make no mistake about it, that's exactly what's going to happen there, because you're right. If you're going to come and you're going to invade me, and you want to invade that island right there that belongs to me, they have the capability to make it hell on earth. And these people, Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump, don't give a shit, because they're not going to be there. They're going to send your sons and daughters to be there. And people will die. People will get sick and will end up losing their lives after years of suffering because of this garbage. This buffoonery.
And it's easy for people that understand. And like I said, Richard, I'm not talking shit. I've never served. I've not. But history is my thing, and war is a huge part of history. And reading up on battles and reading these things and understanding it's really easy to get emotional, because you know what this is going to look like for these guys. This is going to be horrible. I mean, horrible There's just no other, and forgive my voice, I'm getting squeaky. I was doing a lot of yelling at the No King's Day protest yesterday.
I'm with you. I was with you.
But brother, I'm looking at this and I just, why would Iran care? If they're going to lose it, why not inflict the maximum amount of economic damage they can, which would be done through destroying it?
Yep, absolutely.
And what is that going to look like? The fires, the smoke, the literally raining oil down on our troops, the booby traps they're going to face when they hit that island. I have no doubt that militarily we can take it.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, what is it going to cost?
Yeah.
And this is by choice.
Yeah. I mean, every single person that comes home in a flag draped coffin should not have even been there. Once again, don't tell us that you accomplished something and run a victory lap and then turn around 6 months later and act like, oh, well, they rebuilt it. That it's garbage. I cannot believe that we are literally about to lose American troops in a war that should never have happened, in a war that didn't have to happen. This is Donald Trump was on video, not video, but recording saying, stop. We're not going to release the Epstein files. F. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Start a war if you have to. We're not releasing the files, and I don't care. That's what this is about. That is what this is about. This is what happens when you have buffoons in the Oval Office. And because they have no concept of what they're doing, Pete Hegseth doesn't know what he's doing. He is the least qualified person. Oh, I'm more qualified. I am more qualified to lead the Secretary of Defense than Pete Hegseth. I've served as a chief of operations. I'm a graduate of the Command General Staff College, and I'm nowhere near able to do that job. I'm nowhere near confident, able to do that. And he is now.
And I am not disrespecting Guard troops when I say this. I am not. They do an amazing job and fulfill their requirements. Yep. But let's be realistic. A active duty major serving in combat operations versus a major that served in the DC Guard, these are not the same fucking thing. They are not. They are not. And anybody serving in the Guard will tell you it is a different assignment. It is not the same thing. Same rank, different assignment. I mean, different set of skills. And to have him running our military is enraging. It is enraging. He has no qualifications whatsoever. War fighters. Yeah. I mean, that is.
Yeah. A retired 2-star general literally just said, those are the words of a future war criminal. And that's why this is important. That's why all these videos of him talking about, we will give no quarter. We already know. I know for a fact when they schwacked that boat in the Caribbean where they killed 9 people, and then they saw that 2 people were hanging on to, the rubble in the water, they went back and fired a 2nd, 3rd, and 4th volley and killed them. That's called double tapping. You don't get to go back into the kill zone and kill people that are wounded. And the moment, remember, he ran victory laps, acting as if he did it all by himself. And then when it turns out that they said, hey, that's a war crime, what did he do? Well, the admiral was the one who did it. I support him wholeheartedly, but it was the admiral. He throws people under the bus.
I want to talk a little bit, as an Army officer, you have to study the history of warfare. You study battles, and this is true, 100% true. Every time there is a major military engagement, a major battle, major war changes. It does. World War I, we saw the introduction of tanks and armored vehicles, changed war forever. World War II, we saw the introduction of air power and blitzkrieg and all. It changed war forever. Yep. Vietnam, we saw the North Vietnamese, very, very, they introduced a way to fight a militarily superior army, and war changed. Yeah. It did. This is scaring me. You're talking about a double tap. The Israelis have just made that normal business as usual. Mm-hmm. They hit, first of all, journalists And you can't tell me they didn't know they were journalists. And then again, double tap. They came back and hit the responders. We did that at the school that we blew up. Between the change to low-cost drone warfare, I mean, the changes that we're seeing are just really, as somebody, again, that I love history, I love reading about this, I love learning about this. The changes we're seeing that have come out of the Ukraine conflict has changed warfare forever. It just has.
Yes. And when you look at Ukraine, you see Ukraine hitting Russians the way that they're doing. Russia's losing 1,000+ troops every single day. And that's what happens. That's what happens when dictators wage war. They don't care about the amount of people that die. All they care about is, I want to still achieve my goal and take that land and that land and that land. That's what's going on. And that's what right now we have with Donald Trump. That's what we have with Netanyahu. Look, you don't get to do this. How dare you get behind a microphone and talk about the evils of all these people that are supposedly coming to attack you while you attack the shit out of them and blow their schools up and things. Look, the good guys don't bomb schools. One of the first things that we did was we bombed a school that killed 170 young little girls. That's 170 families that will dedicate their lives to making sure that they get payback with this. And make no mistake about it, don't act like that's the wrong way to look at it, because if it happened here in America, we'd feel the same daggone way. But they bombed a school. Then they bombed a facility that took the salt out of the water to provide people with clean drinking water. And it's just like, look at the actions of these people. They don't care. And look, I mean, as soon as Gaza was pretty much nothing but rubble, now it's Lebanon, because this is what it is. This is about Bibi Netanyahu getting whatever he wants. And once again, you don't get to sit here and act like the victim because somebody decided to attack you while you've done nothing but level their cities and destroy their people. I don't know.
And I got to tell you, I said this from the meeting. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was a horrible guy, but he was 86 years old. He was in poor health, and he had a revolution starting in his country. He did. There was the foundations of a revolution starting in Iran. That's over.
It's over.
If you bombed a city here in the United States, people were like, okay, y'all hate Trump, so we're going to bomb Charlotte. Or we're going to try to bomb DC. America would galvanize instantly against you. It wouldn't be like, oh, thank you for bombing us. No, these people are fucking morons, Richard.
Yep. Yeah, it's the hardest thing in the world to look at, because once again, I mean, I'm going to tell you, I don't want to sit here and say I'm anti-religious. I believe in Matthew 25, for what you do to the least of my brother, you do unto me. I believe in that. And I think that if you live that and you try to live that, then you're going to have a pretty decent life. But I'm going to tell you, I despise these people that are trying to act like religion, and they're acting like they're so religious. You think I'd give a shit when Donald Trump sits in the Oval Office and all those friggin' multi-millionaire friggin' pastors that preach that bullshit seed philosophy go stick their hands on him and pray? You think that means any damn thing to me? I look at that and I say, those are the biggest grifting bastards on the face of the earth. They know that he is the friggin' horrible human being. They know he's a child rapist, but they stand with him because they know that their flocks are still just as dumb as anything else. And they fall for that bullshit. And they give money to these friggin' people. And it's an absolute joke. They've stolen religion. I grew up in the Catholic faith. And I can honestly say this, and you can throw stones at the Catholic faith all you want if you want to talk about all the horrible things that took place with diddling kids and things like that. But I'm going to tell you, I grew up in the Catholic Church. I stopped going to the Catholic Church when I graduated because I said, I'm 18. I'm not longer going to that because it was hard for me being a young kid with ADHD. But I'm going to tell you, our priest lived in a small little house, and I'm talking a tiny little house behind the church. He drove an old junker car, and when he left and a new priest come in, they basically inherited the house and the old junker car. I never saw them living in the lap of luxury. The only thing that I saw in all of my years when I was a Catholic that I thought was horrible, and I was a kid, and that was when we had a guy by the name of A. James Manchin, who happened to be Joe Manchin's uncle. And he was the politician that they ended up getting rid of. He was a corrupt guy, but he showed up during an election season to show up at our church. And they put him in a chair right next to the priest in front of everybody. And I thought to myself, why is he there? And I remember asking my parents, why was he there? And they're like, well, he's running for office. Unacceptable. I don't think you should be able to use churches to daggone, but I mean, now you're allowed to go into the churches. But I mean, I didn't think it was right for what they did with him.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. When I was researching for this show this morning, I was looking at exactly what you're talking about. You don't go into the American people don't support this war.
No.
They don't. You don't go into a war without the support of your people.
And could
our allies don't.
But could this be? Do they think that by maybe pushing our troops onto Karg Island so that Iran will have to push back, and all of a sudden we lose a couple hundred troops? Is that going? Are they thinking that's enough to get everybody behind us now? Because it wouldn't surprise me to sacrifice our own troops because Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth and them want to get the people behind them. I wouldn't surprise me.
They're going into a war without support. Then you've got our allies. I just showed you an article there from Chancellor Merz. He's saying, look, these guys have no plan. This wasn't necessary. We're not getting involved. We're not. This was by choice. And we don't think that these people are competent, and they don't have, he said this. The Chancellor of Germany said this. These people aren't competent. They don't have a plan. They don't have a plan to end this. They don't have an end goal. We're not getting involved. We'll be glad to help after to stabilize the region and make sure people are okay, but we're not getting in this. That's our allies. And then, of course, I showed the clip from Pope Leo. Pope Leo's like, no, the Catholic Church doesn't have a problem with self-defense. They love turn the other cheek and this, that, and the other, but you never see a pope come out if there's an actual legitimate cause. Yeah. They don't come out and they don't say, when you've got the Pope coming out and saying, God is not hearing your prayers. You did this on purpose.
That's right. Well, Pete Hegseth standing there trying to pray in front of everybody and act like he's got some moral code. But once again, this is what this is. These are war-hungry people. Pete Hegseth is, he's a little man that walks around every day looking at people that just absolutely dwarf him. When it comes to military achievements, and he's also trying to keep good old his buddy Donald Trump happy. Look at what Japan said. Japan, which is a perfect thing for one of our allies to say, is that, it's not just getting rid of Donald Trump. That's not the fix. The fix is there's still 77 million Americans that supported that jackaloon. Now, I know a lot of them have dropped off. Donald Trump's got about a 27% success rating right now. But at the end of the day, they are correct. We have an education system that has been under attack since the 1970s. Ronald Reagan killed the Fairness Doctrine, which allowed Fox News and these other companies to come about to poison our minds. And that's exactly what they've been doing. And that's what they're still doing. This is what happened. And our education system has been under attack. The most important person in the United States of America is an educated child. But we don't want that because educated people are not easily duped. So they knew uneducated people, we can talk them into anything. And that's where they are right now. When you go to a MAGA rally and you see all those people, that's the uneducated people that I'm talking about. Now, they think that they know everything. They all of a sudden act like they have a doctorate in bullshitology. But the truth is that they are the poorly educated that is still supporting this jackaloon. And here's the thing. This is how we fix this. This is how we convince them that it's done and they need to look the other way. And that is, there was a safe that was taken out of Jeffrey Epstein's property. And there's a man that has already said that he saw what was in those contents, what the contents in that safe was. And he said there was a few pictures, two of which are Donald Trump sitting down with teenagers that were topless on his lap. Let me tell you something. You can blur out those teenagers' face and those breasts, but everybody should see those pictures, because people have got to start realizing that this man has been a pedophile for decades. This is what we talked about when they said the Billionaire Boys Club. You watch these movies, like they talk about the certain skulls and stuff like that. This was it. The Billionaire Boys Club was Epstein Island, and they thought that they could do what they wanted forever and ever and ever. And it's time for the American people to start standing up. It is time for the American people to join together and take on the real enemy in this country, and that's the billionaire class. It is time for us to tax the billionaires. Send me to Washington, D.C., because I'm going to want a lot of things, and I'm going to tell everybody when they say, how are you going to pay for it? We're going to tax these billionaires out of friggin' existence. How dare we still allow Elon Musk to have the power that he has now that he's already been caught multiple times where we know he cheated during elections, and he's still walking free? Why does he still get contracts from us? Cancel every contract, arrest him, seize every penny that he has, and put that right back into our banks, because that's where it should go. That's what needs to happen.
And you know, the frustrating part about that, Richard, to me is, you know, math is just math. You can actually right the ship. You can tax people's wealth. You know, they dodge tax by hiding income. You can tax their wealth, and they will still have mega yacht money. They will still have, you know, eat the rarest foods on the planet money. They will still have private jet money. They will still have all of it. You know, we can right this ship. You got the CEO of Goldman Sachs, you know, sitting there in front of Congress saying, tax me before the pitchforks come out, man.
Because they know. And here's the thing. We could easily do something like say, okay, here's the deal. We're going to go back to a time where we know that a CEO is going to make more money than the average person working on the floor. But you should not make 7,000 times what they make in a month. You know, I mean, it's cruel. You know, we should say, you know, okay, I'll let you make, you know, so much times more, but it should not be the gap that we have right now. And right now, to them, you know, it benefits them. You know, they pay less taxes than a teacher pays. You know, we're supposed to be the greatest country on earth, which we're not, by the way. We're not number one in anything except garbage. Like the amount of people that we have locked up in prisons. That's where we're number one. Everything else, we're number 50. We're 70. There's like 208 countries in the world. We're not number one in almost everything. So, you know,
we've got a lot of work to do, brother.
A lot of work to do. And that's why it's important. We got to send people to Washington, D.C. that are committed to holding these people accountable. And I'm telling you right now, I want to tax the rich. You think I'm going to sit and allow anybody to get rid of Social Security when we've paid into that our entire adult lives? I want that money when I'm 65 years old. So I want that. And I'm not going to let them take that away. I would much rather say, okay, here's what we do. If we take the cap right now, which is sitting at $124,000. So if you make $124,000 and less, every dollar that you make, you got to pay into Social Security. Now, if you make $250,000, you only pay for the first $124,000. But what if we move that cap up to $250,000? If we did that, we would have Social Security for our children. But could you imagine what we could do if we took the cap away and we said that Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos are going to have to pay into Social Security with every dollar that they make? We could actually enjoy cost of living increases every year to make sure that anybody that just lives on Social Security would still be able to make the ends meet. And that would be something that we would say would be a crucial move to help America.
And you know, it's simple fixes like, you know, hey, instead of, they don't declare income. They don't. They take the value of their shares and they borrow against it at ultra low rates So basically, they're just getting handed cash. They live off of that. They write that off against their taxes so that they don't pay taxes. I've got an idea. You want to get around that? Tax equity trades.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be, I mean, you're talking about 1/100th of a penny per trade. You know what I mean? And I don't want to tax these people out of their wealth. I don't. Be rich. That's the American dream, is to earn a living and become wealthy. And, if you do the work, great. But tax them enough to pay for schools, tax them enough to pay for roads, tax them enough to pay for health. Every American should have Medicare as a basic, basic bottom floor of healthcare should just be every American has Medicare.
Yeah, let's tax them the amount that it makes or that it takes to give us universal healthcare. Let's do that. And look, at the end of the day, look, you're a billionaire, but you're only a billionaire because of the tactics that they've come up with that make sure that you don't have to pay taxes when you pass on your homes, your yachts, your planes to your kids. My kids will have to pay taxes on everything that I give them, but yours don't. Let's start doing things like removing that kind of capability, and let's start basically making America, if we want to sit and claim that we're great, we're never going to be great as long as we allow the billionaire class to literally make more money than they could spend in 1,000 lifetimes, while we have millions of Americans that are literally, we have 577,000 homeless people in America, and that's just what they've been able to count. Why don't we look at a billionaire and say, hey, you're going to solve this problem. You're going to solve it. Go take the next month, sit down with a team of whoever the hell, because you're a billionaire. You can hire the smartest minds in the world. Sit down with the team, and you come up with a way to end homelessness in this country. I don't give a shit if you've got to take some of the land that you bought, build small little homes, and build a city around these people so they have the ability to go do things and live their lives. But let's solve a problem. And that's what, I want to do that. How about we rely on you to decide how much we're going to pay our teachers? Because it's unacceptable that we have teachers that are the most important occupation in the United States of America. Because you can't make a doctor without one. You can't make a lawyer without one. But we pay doctors and lawyers millions of dollars, and we pay teachers poverty wages. Unacceptable. The teacher strike in West Virginia that we fought for 9 days and won a 5% pay raise. That 5% wasn't a lot of money, but it was at least something that the teachers could feel like we got something. But let me tell you something. We should not allow a teacher anywhere in America to start as a teacher and pay them less than $65K. Guess what? The majority of states in this country don't pay $65,000 to their teachers, period. North Carolina, who's 49th in teachers' pay, doesn't even acknowledge master's degrees. I mean, what kind of assholes do that? You spend money, and these are teachers. They're not taking bullshit classes. They're taking classes on how to better educate our children, and we allow them to live in poverty. It breaks my heart. I see teachers, because I spent 4 years in the classroom. I see teachers driving up to the daggone parking lot in cars that literally probably have duct tape holding the bumpers on. And we're okay with that?
I hear you. I hear you, brother. I hear you. I'll give you another amen, man. I am telling you. Richard, I love to talk to you because of your experience and the things that you've seen. And I want to throw something at you, and I want to get your take on it, because to me, this conflict in Iran, we talked about how war changes. It does. To me, it's looking like the Vietnam War if Vietnam had real technical expertise, because this just happened, Richard. This just happened. This is an E3 Sentry. This is an E3 Sentry. You know the value of the intelligence that these planes provide.
Oh.
You know what that is to our troops on the ground, what that means. This just happened. This was done with a $25,000 drone. this was at Prince Sultan Air Base. This is Prince Sultan Air Base. It's right outside Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And Iran reached out and touched us. You see the planes all lined up on the tarmac there. Yep. This is give you people an idea where we're talking about. This is Prince Sultan Air Base. This is Riyadh. This is Iran. They did this with a $25,000 drone, Richard. But that plane, an E3, originally cost about $250 million. It did. It was about $250 million.
That's the plane.
The newer iterations were $500 million. We don't buy E3 Sentries anymore. We've moved on to this. We're now purchasing E7 Sentries, which is an incredible piece of equipment. It really is. But with a $25,000 drone, we're going to have to replace that E3 Sentry that they just destroyed. And that's before you talk about the 13 service members that have died and the 300 that have been injured. This plane alone is going to cost us $1 billion, Richard.
With that,
an E7.
But also the intelligence that those aircraft have, that's a loss too. And it's the price tag would be staggering. And you're right. I mean, it is
a $25,000 drone, Richard. It's going to cost us $1 billion to replace that piece of equipment.
I don't know if you remember this, but I remember this in the early stages, the earliest of stages of the Vietnam War, when a helicopter landed and they saw arrows that were sticking out of the sides. And a person says, how can these people fight the United States Army with arrows? And somebody says, how can you fight a group of people that will fight helicopters with arrows? They don't quit. And that's what we found out throughout the entire Vietnamese War. I mean, these people had a hatred that fueled them, and they were able to do more with far less. And I said,
we won every battle and lost the war.
Won every battle, and let me tell you, we never lost a fight in Afghanistan. But who's in charge of Afghanistan right now? Taliban. Understand that we have. There's no. Pete Hegseth is not laying out any plans or any. This is what our accomplished goals are going to be. I mean, look, right now the United States of America is now getting into a drone war, and that's what this is. And countries are realizing that it's really one of the easiest ways to fight a war, to where you're going to make sure that people are going to pay for it. I mean, if you look at the loss in Russia, and once again, remember, dictator Vladimir Putin don't care how many troops. They've lost almost 1.3 million soldiers. That shows you how little a dictator cares about the troops. And that's what we're seeing. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's what's going to happen here. That'll happen on Karg Island, and that's why I hate this so much.
Yeah. And, talking about Russia, you bring up Russia. This is something that's bothering the hell out of me. As of this morning, this was the only major corporate news outlet that I could see that was actually telling the American people what we're facing there. Again, $25,000 drone managed to destroy a piece of equipment that's going to cost us $1 billion to replace. That's how you lose, Richard.
Yep.
They got the targeting information from Russia.
Yep.
It was Russian satellite intelligence that allowed them to target those planes so accurately. And this is the only American news outlet that is telling the American people this. Now, the rest of the world is getting told. You can go to the Telegraph, you can go to London, you can go to France, you can go to Germany, you can go to their people are being told this.
Yeah, they know.
But our people aren't.
Yeah. And this is absolutely horrific. This is horrific. And we know, and recently we know that Vladimir Putin told Donald Trump that if you basically, I forget what it was, but basically what he said was, if you do this, we will stop giving. No. If you stop supporting Ukraine, then we'll stop giving information to Iran. That's Donald Trump's number one fan. That's Donald Trump's number one person that he cares about. Donald Trump doesn't give a shit if some president in South America wants to support Donald Trump. Donald Trump loves more than anything that he's got a friendship with Vladimir Putin. But tell me something. If you had a friendship, would your friend give information to your enemy? No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. Donald Trump is a man who is compromised. And we know that Russia has been wooing him for decades. And this is why. This is the fruits of their labor. Donald Trump giving in to Vladimir Putin with everything and anything that Vladimir Putin wants. This is the United States of America. Donald Trump is more than happy to send our troops to fight and die. But make no mistake about it, he will always do what Putin tells him to do, because Putin also has a little evidence on Donald Trump, and we all know that.
We've got Donald Trump that has hindered Ukraine at every opportunity.
Yep.
Then this happens. You've got, he repeals the sanctions on Russia, so Russia is now making bank selling oil. Yep. Then he has to go to Ukraine and say, oh, wait a minute, these $25,000 drones are a problem, and they're costing us a lot of money. Can you help us with that, please? Hat in hand, he has to go to Zelensky and say, can you help us with this? Can you, and then you've got people that are like, well, you help Ukraine against Russia. Why shouldn't Russia help Iran against you? And I understand that argument, but have we really backed Ukraine? No, we haven't. We acquiesced to Vladimir Putin because Trump is his bitch. Pardon my language.
True.
So we haven't supported Ukraine the way we could have. I mean, we could have ended this war, Richard. We could have ended the war in Ukraine a long time ago. We could have. I am our military's biggest fan. And I tell people in the show all the time, we are the only military on the planet that could enter a kicking ass contest with the entire fucking world and stand a chance. So no, I am not denigrating our military in the slightest. I know what they're capable of. But God damn, Richard. I mean, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at Russia giving Iran targeting information. I'm looking at the evolution of this warfare, and I'm seeing a disaster brewing, man.
That's it.
With the most incompetent people at the helm.
That's where we're at. And the thing that gets me is, look, I'm going to support our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Space Force, Coast Guard, reservist guardsmen. I don't care. I'm going to support them. And I'm going to tell you that there is at no time when they are, at no time should we ever just throw their lives away. And I believe that this is the kind of stuff. For what? For greed? For what? So that you can stand with Bibi Netanyahu? Look, I don't think that the Israeli people are bad people. But this Netanyahu guy is absolutely addicted to war. And just what we saw with Gaza. And now, immediately after Gaza is nothing but rubble, now they're going to Lebanon. I mean, this guy is not going to stop. And are we going to allow for our sons and daughters of this country to be just thrown away for this garbage? I mean, this is the worst administration that this country has ever had. We had a No King's Day yesterday with millions upon millions of people all across this country because the president of the United States, who has the lowest approval rating in the history of a president of the United States, is trying to literally wage war, trying to support warlords. For what? So that he can what? Keep people's eyes off the files. People, don't take your eyes off the files. This right here is unacceptable. If you care about young children, that is something that needs to be addressed, period. And we know that this whole administration is doing nothing but trying to block it, trying to keep it hidden. And every one of them need to go down because of this.
Richard, I talk to my audience all the time. For the last two shows, we've talked about this, our options. And I this is my assessment of what I'm seeing. We're going to achieve militarily every objective that they're given. We are. bar none, we're going to kick the shit out of Iran. We are. There's no doubt about it. When it comes to just the military doing their job and getting it done, the military is going to do it, but it's going to come at a cost, and we're going to fucking lose anyways. It's going to be Vietnam all over again, where we win every goddamn battle. And it just like Afghanistan, 20 years, we kicked the shit out of the Taliban. They never won anything.
Nothing. But they cost us. They cost us so much. And yeah. It's not all about. I mean, we lost a lot of troops, and we lost. There's 1 million Americans that rely on the Veterans Administration, and once again, this is the administration that is sending people to war while they're trying to gut the VA. It's horrible, and nobody should be for this garbage. It amazes me, and understand that Iran's terrain is actually worse. If we were to go in, when we send Delta or the SEALs in or the Ranger battalions in, and they go in, they kick ass, and they get out quick, it's picture perfect every time. But when you start putting boots on the ground, and that's what bothers me, they're wanting to put boots on the ground in Karg Island. And the moment that they do that, they're going to start thinking about basically hitting the mainland. When you put boots on the ground, you can guarantee it's going to be a years-long conflict. And, we stayed in Afghanistan for 20 years. We lost trillions of dollars. And what was the outcome? Yeah.
I'm telling you. And you know what, man, I just want to expand on this for just a second while I got you, because, Richard, I love our conversation so much, man. I really do. I just want to, we talk about Karg Island up here. All right. But really, that's not going to have to be the objective. They're going to have to try to open the Strait of Hormuz. Yep. They are. We're going to be talking about Manab. We're going to have to invade this entire region of Iran and hold it. Mm-hmm. It's a mountain range, Richard. We're going to have to control the base of a mountain range. And again, haven't served. I'm not claiming to be some military fucking guy. I'm not. But I have read a history book, and I do understand that you don't want to be defending territory at the bottom of a fucking mountain range.
Oh, no.
You just don't.
No. I'll tell you, I can remember when I was in Afghanistan, we helped better secure basically an Afghan police checkpoint. And it was at the base of a mountain. And of course, as soon as we saw it, it was like, are you kidding me? Because the enemy would just fire RPGs from above down. And it was just brutal. And I mean, we did everything in our power, but we couldn't stop the attacks that kept coming. And something like this, I mean, it's going to take you a while to get the capability, to get the people on the ground to secure the area. And oh, by the way, this is probably not going to be something that you secure without being under fire. And it's going to make it even harder and harder to be able to take that little piece of land right there. And then, oh, by the way, what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to get troops up in the tops of those mountains to secure the tops of those mountains too. And at the end of the day, remember, we're still talking about a war that we've never had to fight. We've never had to fight a drone war. We
didn't have to fight this one. We didn't. We chose this.
We chose this. I'm going to tell you Richard, right now, it's going to be tough.
Tell me.
Yeah, it's going to be brutal. I hate to sound like we're sitting here trying to wipe our ass with the plans of the United States of America. Look, I'm just wanting to be real. I just want people to understand that this stuff doesn't happen with the snap of the fingers. This doesn't happen because Pete Hegseth gives a speech that says we're gonna use a force to whatever. This doesn't happen like this. This only happens if you put boots on the ground. And if you put boots
we're going to do it.
And you better be ready to accept the losses, because there will be losses. And these drones aren't going to end anytime soon.
Again, your point exactly. I'm not denigrating our military at all. I know for a fact that when they pull the trigger on this is option one. When they pull the trigger on this, and we have to end up having to secure this area that we're looking at in this map right now, that the United States military will achieve it. But you know how expensive it is going to be, because they're going to have to control the high ground, Richard. They're going to. That is not cheap.
No.
It is expensive, very fucking expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, just talking, and I hate to be crass about it and talk about it in just dollars and not just the men and the manpower and everything that is going to be involved. But you're talking about attack helicopters. You're talking about attack aircraft. You're talking about intelligence. You're talking about in deploying technology that most people have never heard of, just to control ground, to keep those attacks from coming from above. It is incredibly expensive to just do this one thing, but then it's expanding, Richard. I don't know if you've been following, because again, let me back out of this for a second. The U.S. press is not leveling with the American people. They're not telling them what is going on. They're sending them pie in the sky bullshit like this. This story right here, just stick with me. I'm gonna go on a diatribe for a second, Richard. I'm sorry,
no issues.
But they're pumping out. This is a wire service, man. The AP is pumping out a story that says, "Oh, well, the mediators are gathering in Pakistan." You've got to go to like the 9th paragraph before it tells you, but it doesn't include anybody from Iran. And it doesn't include anybody from the United States. So no, that's bullshit. No, it's not. It's not happening. But this is the kind of shit that we're seeing happening. The Houthis in Yemen have now said, okay, we're in this. We're in this. And most people don't understand strategically what this means. And again, I got to tell you, the American news media is not leveling with the American people with what I'm about to explain. They don't understand that right now we're at $100 a barrel for oil. Trading's not going on right now. It doesn't open up till 6 o'clock Eastern time again. But when it does, it's going to spike because of this very thing right now. This is... It's just mind-blowing that these idiots thought that they were going to go in and just attack Iran, and that was just going to be it. This is the Gulf of Aden. This is the Red Sea. This, folks, is called the Gate of Tears. It translates to the Gate of Tears. It's the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. It is another choke point, just like the Strait of Hormuz. And the Houthis have just announced they will be attacking any oil tankers going through it. And there is fuck all we can really do about it until we just go scorched earth on Yemen.
Because we've also bombed the shit out of Yemen. We have bombed Iran. We bombed Iraq. We bombed Yemen. We bombed Syria. I mean, like there's hell, I had it written down someplace. That's where we're at here. We're not making friends in these areas. We're making enemies every single day. And once again, they shut that down. Man, I don't even know what the price of gas is going to get to. But I'm going to tell you this. All of you jackaloons out there driving your Ford F-950 trucks with your anti-Joe Biden flags. Yeah, now we know why we're not seeing that anymore. Because you guys can't afford to put gas in your trucks to do that garbage. And it's only going to get worse. You might want to put a for sale sign on it. Get yourself
this is where I was going. This is what I wanted to, this is what I wanted to, this is why I want you in Congress. You understand this. Folks, the price of gas is high right now. Monday, actually Sunday night, when the trading starts on the NYMEX at 6 o'clock Eastern, you're going to see another spike in oil because the Houthis have just said, we're in this. This is a new front in this war that's already opened up, and Congress hasn't even declared war yet. This is really happening, and this will be long term. So let me just lay it out there for you, and then I'm going to hand it to you, brother. Two options. Either we go in which case Iran destroys its own oil infrastructure, does what they did in Iraq, just light it up, burn it all, in which case we're going to see high gas prices for a decade.
Yep.
For a decade. There will not be enough oil and this administration has already gone after green energy and all that other shit. So the alternatives aren't there. We're just talking about oil and high energy, high home electric prices. We're talking about all of that. That's option one. We go in. You're talking about closing shipping, going through the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea through the Suez Canal. Decades of high energy prices. And there's nothing we can do about it. The other option is we lose. We pack our shit and we go home, and Iran declares victory. And now they've gone from pretty much free shipping through the Strait of Hormuz to now Iran is demanding a tax on every ship that goes through. They want war reparations. They want, you know what I mean? And we won't pay those. We won't. So it'll be political infighting forever in that region. But those are the two options. We go in, they destroy and we kick their ass totally, 100%.
It's a no-win.
Or we leave and they are stronger. We've put down their revolution. We've put a worse government in place. And I'm looking at these two situations, and we've got the dumb son of a bitches in the world running this, Richard. Yep. This is why I want you in Congress, because your opponent, that fucknut Hudson, forgive my language, all he can do is lick the taint, man.
That's all he does. That's all he ever does. Look, this it's not going to end well, period. We're not going to be able to walk away and claim victory. Donald Trump and them can claim victory all they want. And the MAGAs are going to believe that it's victory. But the truth is, it's not victory. The gas, like you said, is that we can literally have high gas prices for the next decade. We didn't have to be here. We didn't have to do this. But this is what happens. I think to myself, 18 months ago, we were enjoying the greatest economy ever. 18 months ago. Had we, and I still believe that we voted for Kamala Harris and that she won. You're not going to tell me that she was beating Donald Trump in 8 of the battleground states and the next day he swept everything. I disagree with that. But I'm going to tell you right now, I can guarantee you that if we would have got Kamala Harris, we would still be enjoying that wonderful economy, and we wouldn't be at friggin' war with every damn body across the globe. We would still have allies that would stand with us. We don't have that anymore because we have a buffoon in the Oval Office who is supported by people like my opponent, Richard Hudson, who will give him whatever he wants. They don't care. I've never seen cowardice in my life to stand up there and give him another participation trophy. Did you see the other day when he was talking and the guy said, well, the people of Venezuela should probably want to build a statue to Donald Trump because of that. And then they started talking about, well, the way that we can maybe reduce the price of gas. And then Donald Trump said, stop. So when are they going to build that statue of me again? That's a child. That's what we have in the Oval Office. And that's the reason why our country is falling from grace. And we are going to have to pay for this because we elected the biggest buffoon who surrounded himself with nothing but criminals. When this is over with, when this nightmare is over, there will be no place for them to hide. We will find them and they will be prosecuted. Stephen Miller, Marco Rubio, Kristi Noem, Tom Homan, Pete Hegseth, they will all going to be held accountable. We will hold them accountable.
Amen, brother. Amen. But you know what really, really, really bothers me is they're not leveling with the American people. The corporate media know they're responsible for this, and they don't want to be held responsible for this. And they've been sucking up to Republicans forever. I had to go that news article I just showed you. That was from Australian Public Broadcasting. There is virtually no news outlet here. I found one. NBC is the only one that is right now currently telling the American people, whew, this is bad. This is happening. This is really happening. This is bad. The rest of the world is being told, but the American people are not. They have no idea.
We are walking into fascism. That's exactly. We are becoming the fascist. That's what this country is becoming.
So brother, I just I have hope because look, you can lie. Remember when they were lying about grocery prices? That you don't hear them talk about grocery prices anymore because that backlash so bad on them.
Yeah.
That was part of the reason we ended up in Iran, because they lost the immigration debate. They lost the inflation debate. They lost the economy debate. The Epstein files were blowing up in their faces. That's why we went into Iran. Well, they can't lie about this, man. People see when they go to the grocery store, when they go to the gas pump, and it's about to get worse.
Everything on day one, lower gas prices, lower your grocery prices, no new wars. The exact opposite is what we got, because a bunch of people still believed him. And that is why our country is screwed right now, because we've got to figure out a way to fix a system to where we're not creating 77 million buffoons who will vote for a person who everybody knew was an absolute shit stain. He did nothing in his first term to deserve a second term. And yet here we are.
Yep. And that's why I'm telling you, we have to have people like you in Congress. We have to have people like you in Congress. But Richard, I'm telling you, we still have fragments in there. And this is what I fight every day, Richard. We still have fragments on the left that are, well, AIPAC money or this thing or that thing, or this is why I'm not going to vote because, you're just not perfect. And I'm like, if people understood, look, your gasoline is about to go national average from $4 to about $6. It is. When trading starts on Monday or on Sunday, and you start getting the news on Monday, the gas prices at your gas stations are going to go up another 50 cents immediately.
Yep.
They just are, because this is happening, and you can't lie your way out of that. So I have confidence that yes, when it comes down to election time, it's going to happen. But it really worries me, Richard, because if people aren't, I talk about this all the time, Richard. People aren't us. The average person, they're out there just doing what they do. They don't follow politics. They don't follow this stuff granularly like I do. You know what I mean? That's not normal.
Right.
That's not normal. The overwhelming, and we have to remember that the overwhelming number of people out there aren't aware. But brother, I'm doing everything I can to make sure that when somebody says, why the hell did my gas go up again? Well, old Texas Paul and Richard Ojeda told us this is what's going on.
And they also need to understand, because they're going to hear this. Go to your state houses in Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, South Carolina, and you're going to watch state houses that have been red for decades. And they're going to look you in the face and tell you that it's because of the liberal Democrats. You got to be smarter than this. It's time for people to start waking up and turning off Fox News and start listening to, let me tell you something. I'm devastated because, like you said, only one news station. And the reason for that's because the news stations they've all decided to just crawl in bed with the enemy. It's the safest place to be. If it wasn't for Coffee with Texas Paul, if it wasn't for podcasts like this, a lot of people would be completely in the dark. That's why these are so important. That's why it's important to support things like this. It's like, everybody that hears me should go find 10 people to watch Texas Paul. While you're there, go check out Ojeda Live, because we're the ones that are fighting these battles right now that the members of the press are too chicken shit to fight. There's going to come a day when they're going to have to basically be held accountable for their cowardice. But we got to stay in this fight.
Brother, I got a link to your website here, and I also have a link to your Act Blue in the comments. But I want to talk about one more thing before you go. Yep. But folks, listen to me. I just want to talk to my audience for a second, Richard, and I do apologize.
No problem.
Just give me 1 minute. I never ask you for shit. I don't. You will never see me just say, hey, please send me some. I'm not a goddamn preacher. Please send me some money. God wants you to. You'll never hear shit like that out of my mouth. But I'm asking you, and I'm telling you, trust me, North Carolina 9th is one of those districts that on election day, people on the news are going to say, holy shit, did you see what happened in North Carolina's 9th district? But Richard can't do it alone. This shit costs money. It does. He's going to have facilities. He's going to have to be able to pay the light bill. He's going to have to be able to provide lunch and food for the volunteers. All of this shit costs money. And I know, Richard, my audience is well above average. It is, both economically and intelligently. And I'm telling you, I know there are a couple of you out there that are very well heeled. You know it, and I know it. I need you to support Richard. I do. I need you to support Richard. Please. I'm asking you. I don't ask for shit like this. I'm asking you. This is one of those races that is going to be the Republicans 3 months from now are going to be like, holy shit, we got to dump $2 million in North Carolina 9th because Hudson's an asshole and we're getting our ass kicked.
Yeah,
what do you think?
My average campaign contribution is $16. His is over $800. He's in the pockets of the billionaire class. And once again, I am running my campaign on small dollar campaign contributions. And you're right. There's a lot of stuff that we got to do. You know, we're going to try our best to bring door knockers from all over to come here. We're going to try to find them a place where we can basically put a roof over their head while they're down here knocking on doors. I mean, you're right. You know, it's a shame that, you're going to have to raise lots of money to be able to flip a red seat blue. My opponent is the chair of the NRCC. So if he thinks he needs $3 million or $10 million, he's going to get it. But I'm going to tell you this. You can't replace putting boots on the ground. And we are going nonstop. My campaign, even Republicans are talking about how hard we're working in this campaign. I can beat Richard Hudson, who doesn't show up. And I think a lot of people are tired of him because, once again, he's your representative for the past 6-7 terms, and you don't even know what he looks like. You've never received a return phone call. It's time to replace him with somebody that does believe in putting boots on the ground. And I tell people, if I'm not in Washington, D.C., you're going to see me in your district because that's what my job requires of me. And to be honest with you, I love doing that job.
Richard, I'm one of those people that I work with people all the time that are running for office. So I know how much work it is, brother. And I know how much the value of the time you just invested with me is. I know how hard it is. I know how much driving you have to do, traveling, speaking, and all that. So the time that you have just given me, I understand the value of it. So please forgive me when I say there's one more thing that I want to talk about before you go, because I really want to frame it this way. I want to leave this place with this framed solidly in people's mind. Donald Trump just did this. He's taken $1.5 billion without congressional approval out of our State Department. Most of it, $1 billion, came out of our disaster response, our global disaster response fund. As in, if there's a tsunami somewhere, you understand soft diplomacy. You understand that when shit happens, that global response fund is huge. The other portions of it came out of things that are similar to, we saw them scrap USAID. We still had a few programs that did things like that. He just took that money and put it into his bullshit Shield of America. Just took it. And there is no response from the people running Congress. So I want to ask you this, and I'm going to put you in the hot seat, Richard. I don't like to do this to people. I don't like to do this to people. I really don't, because you cut me, I bleed blue, brother. I fight for Democrats all the time, but man, I have to have an ask. I do in this situation. Will you, if you go to Congress, work to put these motherfuckers in prison for breaking the law? Yes. For doing things like this without congressional approval? That money was allocated for a purpose and a reason. It is codified in law. You've been in Congress before. You know these bills. You know how they work. We're giving you money for this. He took that money and he put it into a bullshit project that has Kristi Noem and Corey Lewandowski flying around. They were just in the news the other day. They just showed up, flying in one of their first class fuck planes.
Yep.
On our dime, took $1.5 billion for that bullshit that does fucking nothing. And we don't know where the money's going to disappear to. Will you pledge to hold the investigations, to hold these people fucking accountable?
Absolutely.
Will you do it?
Absolutely. This nightmare ends with accountability, and they will be held accountable. They will be held accountable for the things that they have done. Pete Hegseth is going to be held accountable for the atrocities that he has committed. Marco Rubio is going to be held accountable for doing behind the scenes deals with other countries where we're disappearing people without due process and sending them to gulags. Kristi Noem, the same thing. Stephen Miller, same thing. These are people. Tom Homan, we're going to bust his ass for his bribery first, then we're going to bust him for everything else. I am committed to holding these people accountable because, once again, we can't move on and fix ourselves until we hold the guilty accountable. And I am absolutely prepared on day one to start sending people notices. You're muted.
I do that all the time. Watch the chat light up, man. They keep me straight, brother. You're about to see muted run through the chat. I do that shit all the time. Brother, this is what I do. I work to get Democrats elected because I know, man. I know there's one governing party in this country. One. The Republicans, they haven't shown up for any of this. They've allowed them to engage in everything from Iran to Venezuela. Now we're embargoing Cuba, right? We're committing war crimes. You know this, Richard. You know how we protect our troops by adhering to the Geneva Conventions. It protects our troops, and we're committing war crimes in Cuba right now by attacking civilian infrastructure.
I know that you got time limit on this, but I'm just going to tell you.
I don't. I'm good.
Let me tell you, Cuba. First off, when you hear Donald Trump and them talking about we're going to make Cuba the 52nd, 50 whatever state, understand this. Do you think they think that through? Do you think that the maggots that love Donald Trump, do you think they want Cuba to become the 52nd state after maybe 51st being Puerto Rico? I don't know. Do you think that they want that to happen so that those people can get on a boat, come to America, and finally go get them jobs that they would like to have? Do you think that's what they want? No, it's not what they want. Right now, this is cruelty. You know what happens when you kill the electricity and things like that? Things like incubators stop working and babies die. You don't get to call yourself the moral friggin' way of life when that's what you do. This is unacceptable. Everything that this administration is doing is nothing but buffoonery and criminal. And we've got to hold them accountable. And it needs to be accountability that everybody gets to watch. Because make no mistake about it. Yeah, this doesn't end with them walking off into the sunset. This ends with being held accountable. This ends with allowing Pete Hegseth to be sent down to whatever country, those people on that boat that were murdered, and let him be prosecuted by them. That's how this ends.
Well, Cuba's in shitty shape. It really is. I mean, the infrastructure is destroyed. Russia always treated them like redheaded stepchildren anyways, but their infrastructure was a mess. And Santiago is Cuba's second largest city. And we're embargoing oil shipments, which is causing their electric grid to collapse. It has shut down. And in the hospital in Santiago, we just had every single person that was on a ventilator die because the diesel backup generators that they had were so old. They were reprobates. They could not come up with the electricity to run the goddamn ventilators. And we're doing this, Richard. Their power plants run off of oil. They're 1940s power plants. They burn oil. They're shitty, dirty old power plants. And we're embargoing all the Russian oil. So their power grid is collapsing and people are dying because of it. That's a war crime, Richard.
Yeah.
It's a fucking war crime.
And think about this. Think about this. Everybody that hears my voice right now, how do you feel if you lose your child because of this? How would that make you feel? Think about that for a second. Because make no mistake about it, the anger that you think you feel right now is nowhere near the anger that you will feel if it's actually true. If you actually lose one of your loved ones, if you lose your children because you had twins and they're in incubators, and then all of a sudden the capability for them to keep them alive disappeared because of an embargo or something like that. Let me tell you, the hatred that you have that's going to fuel your hatred for the rest of your life, that's what you can guarantee these people are feeling right now. 170 families lost their daughter. 170 families. Let me tell you something. This doesn't end over there. This will make its way to our shores. If it takes 10 to 20 years before something happens, and it's going to be payback for what they did over there because of that. Let me tell you, that's how it works. The planes that flew into the Twin Towers of New York, that was started years before. That was started during the beginning of Desert Shield, because Osama bin Laden did not think it was right for Americans to put boots on the ground there and expel. Osama bin Laden was ready to raise his own military and oust Iraq from Kuwait. But they said, nah, we're going to let the Americans handle this. And because of that, that fueled the hatred of Osama bin Laden. And it took literally, 11 years for planes to fly into our World Trade Center. And let me tell you, there's 170 families right now in Iran, that now would give their lives to make America suffer. That's what happens when you do this shit. And Pete Hegseth and them will never feel the pain, but your family will.
Yeah. And this is what's just absolutely just killing me inside, Richard, is that these people are not big picture people. And then I get these idiot MAGA people online that are like, you hate America because you ain't before the war fighters, war fighters, and we're going to win. We're going to kill the next guy. Let me tell you something about Ayatollah Mustafa Khomeini. Okay. I've said this before. I said it to my audience. They know, Richard, but I want to say it to you. His father, I'm not sad that he's gone. I'm not. But you know what? He was a father. And we killed Mojtaba Khomeini's father. We killed his brother-in-law. We killed his niece. And I swear, when I say we, I mean Israel. They killed his niece. They killed his wife and his teenage son.
There you go.
My entire existence would be dedicated to exacting as much pain on you as I possibly could if you did anything like that to me.
Yeah. I keep my shadow box behind me, and not because I want to beat my chest. It's because I want people to understand that I have absolutely been in these places. And I'm telling you, we're not on the right path. We are not on the right path. And this doesn't end when Donald Trump says it ends. This is going to cause issues for decades. And eventually it will make its way to our shores. And once again, now, and oh, by the way, now what we're doing to Cuba, do you think that those parents that are losing their children in the incubators, do you think that they're not hating the air that we breathe? And oh, by the way, they're not thousands of miles away. They're 90 miles away?
90 miles.
So you might want to think about these things before you start a friggin' fire everywhere. And at the end of the day, I don't give a shit what anybody has to say. This is all about Donald Trump and his people trying to keep everybody's eyes off the fact that they raped children. 1,200 children were sexually trafficked, raped, And some of them probably even disappeared and were killed. And that's what the Billionaire Boys Club was. And to keep that secret, they are more than willing to commit us to wars all across the damn globe to keep them from being ever held accountable. Unacceptable. I love that. Epstein. That's right. Yep. That's what everybody needs to continue saying. Don't let this stuff go silent. We demand the release, the full unredacted release of the Epstein files. Because when that happens, that's the only way we're finally going to be able to wake up these MAGA folks. Because right now they are completely lost. But if they see those pictures of Donald Trump with a bunch of topless children on his lap, maybe that's enough for them to say, damn, it's time for us to cut ties. It sucks that you have to wait to that, and you haven't cut ties already. But once again, that's why we have the worst education system. And you can't blame it on the teachers. Blame it on the politics.
Well, you know, Richard, that's why I tell people all the time, they got to get involved locally. They got to get involved with their local Democratic Party, because you will never, you know, I tell the story all the time, Richard. You remember the Branch Davidians? You remember David Koresh?
I was in Sapper school when that went down.
Man, he's gone. He's dead. He's history. There are still, to this day, Branch Davidians in Waco. Literally just a couple hours from me. They're still there. They're greatly diminished. They're not, it's not the same thing. Don't get me wrong. But there are still people, they meet every Sabbath and they get together and they read their Bible. Branch Davidians still committed. We will never eliminate MAGA. We will never eliminate bigotry. We will never eliminate this ideology that they have. The answer is that we get involved. We stay involved. We don't do stupid things. Like me, I want to grab the Democratic Party and I want to pull left real freaking hard. I think the Overton window shifted. I think that the party's moved too far to the right. I think that there's a lot more things that we can do for the American people and changes that I want to make. But I want to make those changes from inside the house.
Yes,
I wear the jersey, man. I'm a Democrat, dude. I'm not an independent. I'm a Democrat for life, because I believe it's my responsibility to fix what's wrong with the Democratic Party and to move forward.
Let me say this. People are now trying to say that Richard Ojeda's been a lifelong Democrat. Remember, I come from West Virginia. I registered as a Democrat at 18 years of age. Now, I threw a vote towards John McCain because why wouldn't I? I was politically ignorant when I retired from the United States military. But make no mistake about it. I'm telling you right now, if I would have been a Republican, I'd probably be the governor of West Virginia right now. I'm a Democrat. But I love your audience, because I normally don't even turn on the chat, but I turned it on. And I saw this, and a person said, Jess Palafox 6881 said, I wonder if the Cubans that voted for this pedophile are happy with what's happening in Cuba. Well, guess what? You should you're not going to be able to get hold of them because they're in Cuba. Because the biggest group of people in Florida that have been deported are Cubans. Remember, we love Donald Trump. That woman, she's already been deported. All these people that went on social media and praised Donald Trump, they're gone. They've already been deported. The guy that got Trump on his arm, I know, he's gone. He's gone. They're gone. They don't give. Donald Trump doesn't give a shit about them. Donald Trump wanted your vote, but the moment that he got your vote, I'm done with them. And he's kicking them all out. They're all going back to Cuba. So, I wonder how they're feeling now about their orange Lord and Savior.
That guy that had Trump tattooed on his arm was the head of one of those Cubans for Trump groups. Can you imagine? They actually deported him to, I believe, Africa, because he can't go back to Cuba. You drop that man in the middle of freaking Cuba with Trump tattooed on your arm, you might as well just...
They're going to sever that shit right off the bat.
I guarantee you.
But once again, understand that this is also why Marco Rubio will be held accountable. Marco Rubio has been paying other countries to use their prisoner facilities. So now let's take the guy that had the Trump on his arm. If they send him to Sudan, it's not like he's out there hanging out on the street corner. He's probably in a facility where he is being treated like a prisoner.
Slave
Look
labor.
at what they did to the CCOT down there in El Salvador. Those places are not, they sent people that were not criminals, that had no criminal record, to CCOT, to a place that was built specifically to break cartels. And then, of course, you got West Virginia's member of Congress, Riley Moore, standing in front of that cage with his thumb like this. Let me tell you something. If somebody pushed Riley Moore back, they would have traded his ass for a Little Debbie snack cake. That guy's the biggest damn worm. I hate when these people like him that have grew up with a silver spoon in his ass try to act like he's got any bit, sliver of friggin' not only honor, but bravery. These guys are chicken shit cowards.
Richard, you got about 5 more minutes?
Yeah, man.
All right, look. I listen to the Republicans, and they talk about things, and they talk to the dumbest among us. I call him Cletus. I've nicknamed him Cletus. They talk to Cletus, and Cletus doesn't know shit about being gay. He doesn't know shit about being LGBTQIA plus or any of that. So if you take, and I love to use this example. If you take a fetus with two X chromosomes, and they don't produce what is called an alpha fetoprotein, or AFP. They don't produce a lot of it. That happens because women are not copying machines. They're chemistry sets. When you're talking about reproduction, it is not a copying machine. It is a chemistry set. Every day, if you took every person on this planet that was gay or transgender or anything, and you poof, they magically disappear. Tomorrow, you would have a child born that is gay or transgender, because all it takes is, say, a child with two X chromosomes doesn't produce enough AFP, which is what shields it from estrogen, from the mother's estrogen and converting androgens over. This is just a natural process. It happens every single day. These people just need to live their lives, Richard. That's when you get somebody that's a lesbian or you get somebody that's a transgender man. This is somebody that's born with a feminized body and a masculine brain. There are other things that happen that cause it to go the other direction, is how we get gay men and transgender men. It's just part of reproduction, Richard. It just is. These are just people. Yeah. Living their lives, man.
Living their lives.
What can we? But yet you get the dumbest among us that live off of, put their fingernails in the cracks of hate. And they take Cletus that doesn't understand shit, and they tell Cletus, go ask Paul what a woman is. And I said, Cletus, I can't describe it to you on a level stupid enough for you to understand, man.
Let me tell you about that. Why is it that the Republican Party attacks the LGBTQ community so hard, but yet every time they gather at CPAC, Grindr crashes? The truth is that these are people that are lashing out with hatred because they don't want to accept the fact that they themselves behind the scenes. Lindsey Graham has always attacked the LGBTQ community. And then Lindsey Graham got outed as being a person who always buys or rents, or whatever you want to call it, male escorts. And do you know how they were able to finally tell on him? Because somebody finally said, hey, you do realize prostitution is illegal. You can't make a person sign a non-disclosure agreement on a crime. And now everybody knows, and everybody knew Lindsey Graham has been that way forever. Everybody knew that. These are people that don't want to come to the terms that that's who they are. And look, I'm going to tell you this. I don't give a shit who you are. I choose love. I'm going to choose to love people for who they are. I've got friends that are in the LGBTQ community that I'll fist fight you right now on the damn street for if I have to, because I love them, because they're good people, because they care. And I'm not going to throw stones at them because they love somebody. I will throw stones at them if they hate anybody, but I'll be damned if I throw stones at anybody for loving another person. I don't give a shit.
I tell you,
if you think you're better than somebody because of the way you love or the way you pray or the color of your skin, you are actually beneath us all.
Man, I'm telling you, let me tell you, I got a friend that he was out in the 80s, brother. He was out in the 80s. He took a cosmetology course in high school. I mean, he was open and out. And let me tell you something. A fist fight breaks out, I want that guy with me because he has put up so much shit. That dude throws hands like nobody you have ever seen.
And has thrown hands often and now has become really good at it. That's the thing you got to be careful with. You got to be careful. There's a lot of people out there that go through a lot. I spent 4 years in the classroom at the high school level, and I saw kids that just, come from nothing. If it wasn't for free lunch, they didn't get no food at all. I watched kids fighting over friggin' a handful of corn dogs to stick in their purse. And I looked at a teacher and I said, what the hell did I just see? And he was like, yeah, that's food for home when they get home because they ain't got no food at home. And I was like, oh my God. But let me tell you something. You see people that, like once they acknowledge and they accept it, they catch a lot of shit because of it. But make no mistake about it, a lot of them, they've got to fight, especially when you find yourself a person that is gay in a place like a super, super red state. Let's just call it a super red state because it's always going to be hard for them. But make no mistake about it, the people that attack them the most, the people that scream at them the loudest, those are the ones that I guarantee you don't ever want you to look at their social media chats. That's a fact.
Yeah, I agree with you, brother. And where I was going with that is members of the LGBTQIA plus community have put up with so much shit in their lives. They are some of the toughest people you've ever met, but they're also some of the most compassionate people you've ever met because they don't want anybody else to go through the shit they put up with. They don't want anybody else. They're the first person to punch somebody in the mouth that is attacking somebody of their community, because they don't want anybody else to feel the shit that they felt. These are good people, 9 times out of 10. And then you get these people that constantly end up on our police blotters that have been Republicans, running for office at some damn level, was driving halfway across the country to meet they thought it was a 14-year-old girl. You know what I mean? Or they're on Grindr and they're, they get arrested because they're abusing young boys, or, you know what I mean? They're attacking the LGBTQI plus community who are just living their damn lives. And it pisses me. You can see my face turning red. It pisses me off, Richard.
Yeah, every day. There's another youth pastor out there that's super MAGA that got caught. Every day. And I'll tell you right now, if you go back and you look at, if we take let's just look from January the 1st until now. If you go from January 1st until now, you're going to see about 80 key people in the Republican Party that have been busted doing the wrong damn things. It amazes me. We got members of Congress got out. They got busted because they were super, super, anti-abortion, but yet they didn't have a problem slipping something into their secretary's drink because he got her pregnant. That stuff happens all the damn time. When you see people out here screaming that kind of bullshit, I'm telling you right now, look into their past. They don't want you to, but that's where you should look.
Yep. I hear somebody that's LGBTQIA. The first thing I do is say, let me see your browser history. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, every damn time, time, brother.
Yep.
Well, look, Richard, I love our conversations. I really do, man. I really appreciate you, brother. I do. I need you folks that in the comments section, there are links to Richard's campaign website. There's links to his Act Blue. I mean it. I need you to get behind him. We've got a chance here. The numbers have shifted. You've seen this. If you watch this show, I've gone through election by election. Boca Raton has the first Democratic mayor in 30 years, people. 30 years. You get involved. You volunteer. You do what we need to do. We will take this country back to a place of decency. We will. And my man Richard is going to get it done. His links are in the description. Richard, if you want to give him a shout out, I'll give you the last word, my brother.
Yeah, you can go to ojeda4nc.com or ojeda.democrat. Let me tell you something. You know, there's nothing in the world that I hate more than asking people for money. But I'm going to tell you right now, I can beat this guy. This is a guy that doesn't ever put boots on the ground and talk to people. We actually had Where's Richard Hudson town halls. You know, that's where I finally stood up and announced my run for office against him. I can beat this guy. And you know what? I'm not asking you for $1,000. My average campaign contribution is $16. But make no mistake about it. If 100 people get together and do that, that's $1,600. At the end of the day, look, I'm going to bust my ass. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to outwork him. I'm going to put boots on the ground everywhere. I'm going to meet every single person. I'm going to shake everybody's hand. I'm going to go through 3 pairs of boots, but I'm going to beat this guy with your help, and I appreciate you. And Texas Paul, my brother, let me tell you something. Always enjoy coming on your show and having a topic of conversation. I look forward to doing that when I'm a member of Congress, and make no mistake about it. As soon as I win, I want a message from you saying, all right, remember you promised, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to hold these people accountable. I'm going to hold them accountable.
Message?
How we win.
I'm coming to your office, brother.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would love that. I would love that. My office is your office.
I appreciate you, brother. I really do, man. I appreciate all the hard fighting, and you're exactly the kind of person I am trying to get into Congress every day, man. I was at the No Kings rally yesterday. Richard, I just want to give you just a little bit of hope, man. Longview, Texas is ruby red. It is. I am the proverbial blue dot in, I am. It is just red. Longview, Texas, normally when we have like a No Kings Day or something like that, you'll get 2-3 dozen people out there that hold signs. It's a small town anyways, but not a lot of people, a couple dozen really good people out there. And I love going out there because it's great. Brother, the No Kings Day rally yesterday was crazy. It was crazy. I don't know how many people showed up in Longview. I know it was more than 300 people showed up, and that is a lot for our little town. And it's Richard, it was so much fun. The people that were there, we were having a good time. It wasn't negative. It wasn't hateful. It was optimistic. It was, man, we got to make this a better place, and it was so freaking cool because, not only did we have tons of people there, but you had such a diverse group. You had church moms sitting next to, very, very, very out gay people, and right next to, and people that were like used to be anarchists that are now like, maybe we should vote Democrat. Maybe we should be involved. You know what I mean? It's so diverse, man. And they're so fun. They are.
It is. I had such a great time yesterday. I love the fact that they gave me the opportunity to address the crowd. But I mean, people showing up, and if you saw the photographs in New York, you saw the photographs in the major cities. I mean, people are done. People are tired. People are sick and tired of this garbage, and it's time for us to make change. And we make change at the ballot box. We don't want to make change by pushing violence. We want to win at the ballot box, and then we're going to hold these people accountable. And every single person that hears my voice, you have a responsibility. You're an American. It's time for us to start acting like Americans and stop allowing us to be basically abused because of a few, just the dumbest of the dumb. We deserve so much better. So I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank you, Texas Paul, for giving me this opportunity to be on your show. Always enjoy it. Look forward to many more to come.
Always a pleasure, Richard. Hey, man, when am I going to get an invitation to come on your show, brother? I mean, you hurt my feelings a little bit.
You know what? We will make that happen. Normally because I don't really do I do great going on people's shows, but let me tell you something. I would love to have you on. Without a doubt, we're going to make that happen because we're going to start changing up Ojeda Live a little more because we want to start bringing more guests on. So without a doubt, I'm so excited for that because that will be a great conversation like the conversations we have here. And somebody wrote, and I just want to say, sappers clear the way, everyone all the way. I love it.
Appreciate you, brother. Have a good one. Thanks for being
Thanks,
here.
brother. Everyone.
Always love my conversations with Richard Ojeda. He is a good man. He is a good guy. And, I love, to me, the guy's too humble. He really is. He is too humble. I tried to get him to talk about his service a little bit, and you could tell he didn't. He didn't, and I had a strategy to get him to do it. I was, hey man, tell him what a sapper is. Hey man, tell him what, and he won't do it. He won't do it. He's just humble. He's just humble, and these are the kind of people that we need in Congress. Forgive my voice. I'm sitting here squealing and, because I lost my voice yesterday. We had candidates out here in Tyler, Texas. I gave a little speech in Tyler, Texas, for the No King's Day event that was just, and you know me, I'm going to be yelling, I'm going to be screaming, but there were so many great people there, man. I'm telling you, we've got this. If we do the work, if we don't let ourselves get divided, if we don't let the purists among us, it just breaks my heart when I see it, man. People are like, well, I'm not voting for this person for this. And it usually involves the word APAC or something like that. People, I'm with you. You want to change the way we deal with Israel? I'm with you. I'm with you. But I know you do it from inside the house. You don't kick the Democratic Party in the balls, get Republicans elected, and then say, well, why didn't you change to suit what I wanted? That's not how it works. Let me tell you something. I remind people of this all the time. How many of you love Barack Obama? That's a question. This is an interactive show. This is a live show for a reason. If you're following the show on replay, got to have that chat panel open, man. They're really great people. Really great people. How many of you love Barack Obama? I know I do. I admire that man so damn much. I do. All right. The day he got elected, he vocally and full-throatedly opposed gay marriage. He did. The members of our LGBTQI plus community had to hold their nose and vote for Barack Obama when he looked them in the eye and told them, you're separate but equal, which was a real slap in the face coming from the first African-American president. That was real. That really happened. What changed? What changed that? You did. You changed it. You changed it, and you changed it from inside the house. See, the Democrats can't change the way, and they're the only party that will change. So you want to change the Democratic Party and the way they deal with Israel? Okay, I understand that. I agree with you. Israel has a higher standard of living than we do. They have free education. They have government-funded abortions. All of that. All of that. So yeah, you want to change the way we deal and the way we support Israel? I'm with you. I understand. But you don't do it with a purity test. You don't do it by saying, well, we're going to make Democrats lose. Well, then you get Republicans. Then you get Republicans. And then you get nothing. The way you make change is you elect Democrats and you pave the way for them. Barack Obama had the courage to reevaluate his position and to change his political position because you paved the way for him. Be the leaders. Be the leaders. That's how we do it, folks. That's the only way in history we have successfully done it. So I'm telling you, I'm asking you, I'm begging you, put your purity tests away. If you've got a guy in the past that took AIPAC money, and he is the person that won the primary. By all fucking means, walk in the booth and vote for that guy. And then harass the shit out of him to make sure he doesn't take another dime. That's how you do it. That is how you do it. That is how we make change. These people that are sitting there, and I even see some of them in the comments here that's just breaking my heart, that are like, no, I'm right. If you don't do exactly what I say, God damn it, we'll burn it all. No, I won't. I have children. I have grandchildren. I have people that I need to worry about. I will not burn it all the fuck down. I'll do the hard work to make change. I will. And I'll even help you do it. But God damn it, you vote Democrat. And enough. I had a conversation yesterday with an independent. And I got to tell you, Amy Manuel was there. Y'all see Amy Manuel. Y'all see her in the show. Y'all see her all the time. She went neck deep in that dude because he was all proud of the fact that he didn't vote for a Democrat. She's like, you voted for Trump then. And he's like, I will never accept that. And at that point, I was done with him. I was done. Over. I'm no longer trying to win you over. If you can't put the fucking jersey on and be responsible and do the work, what good are you? Really? You're such a prima donna that you're just like, oh, they better service me and do what I want. Or damn it, we're not going to do anything. Bullshit. Bullshit. You change this party from the ground up. Be the leaders. I want to take the Democratic Party. This is my dream, that I grab a hold of the Democratic Party, that I use the chips that I garner in helping people and helping people get elected. When we get Richard Ojeda elected, there will be one day that I will, hey, Richard, we got a vote on universal health care coming up. I need you to support that, brother. I need you to support that. That's how I that's my plan, folks. That's what I'm doing here. That's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. We fight our asses off in the primaries to elect the people that we think are going to make the party better. Y'all heard me. I was all over supporting Zoran Mamdani because he became our candidate. I didn't support an out-of-party spoiler. No. I vote for the Democrat because I know they're the only governing party and the only hope we have of changing things and making them better. So yeah, that's what I have for you today, folks. I really appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I hope you enjoyed our conversations. Take a second to hit the subscribe button. Take a check and take a chance. I got to tell you, I've met so many great people. Brody, it was such a pleasure to meet you, young man, yesterday. It was a pleasure to meet you. I had a young man whose mother's part of our community. She's probably watching this show. Young Brody came up to me and handed me a rose and said, here you go. A little tiny rose that he'd pulled off one of the roses in Tyler, one of the rose plants in Tyler. And he said, here you go, Paul. Will you take a picture with me? Hell yeah, I will, brother. That's our future. That's our future. People learning decency. Be our leaders. It matters. It matters. It does. We will make things better. We will. We'll make it a better place. It's going to be scary. It's going to be ugly. And like the point I was making with Richard, the bigots are never going away. MAGA is never going away. Even when Trump dies, that part of that cult will survive. They'll just pick a new figurehead. But we defeat it by never letting our guard down. We defeat it by doing the work. We defeat it by being committed. So you will see me even when it's unpopular, even when they fuck up, even when other people want to run for the hills, man, you will see old Texas Paul wearing his Democratic Party jersey, because I know somebody's got to be here to fix this shit. I hope you're here with me. And on that note, thank you for all the support. Thank you for all you've done. I know I didn't read your comments today. I try not to do that when we have a guest, but I am super grateful for all the support. All of you people, I just got some more coffee in the mail the other day. I am telling you, I love that y'all find these little roasters out there. I am so grateful for all your generosity, and I'm super grateful. I really am. I cannot do it without you. I don't even have the words to tell you how grateful I am. But I'm grateful most for the fact that y'all are standing here with me, and y'all are willing, like I said, to elect Democrats, grab a hold of the Democratic Party, and pull left and do things that are better for the American people. On that note, enjoy some Texas cities at night.